All right, g'day guys. Welcome to today's live stream. It is a very basic introduction to a common question that I have been seeing popping up. You've probably seen a lot of ads and flashy holidays, flashy cars, flashy clothes, designer this, designer that, expensive dinners, and people living a lavish lifestyle, and they're claiming that it is from Forex trading. And you're probably wondering, what does that even mean? So today we're going to get into exactly what Forex trading is. A little bit of background on myself is I am 38 years old, dad, 2 kids, and if it's in God's plans to have more, I'd love to have more. I've been in business for over 20 years. I've had franchises, 5 franchises in total in the food and beverage industry. I've had an importing business, I've had a retail business, I've had service businesses. Basically, I've been in business since I was 20 years old, so almost 2 decades in the business industry. There have been multiple times where I've invested heavily into businesses and it has not worked out. So in my late 20s, when I was involved in franchising, I lost a lot of money, lost about $1 million at the time. And then I got into the service industry, being in property and real estate and home improvements. So a little bit later down the track, when I was in the retail and online space, I came across this world of Forex trading, and I started to learn about Forex trading back in 2019. And it was a typical someone posing on a Ferrari 488 Pista, and that image got my attention. And even though I was making decent money at the time, this person seemed to be living a lot further ahead than I was. So it jigged my interest, and I started going down the rabbit hole of trying to understand what it was. And in the beginning, I thought it was a scam. So fast forward to today, and it's almost 5 years later, and it's my only source of income. So in 2023, it's now early 2025, I lost a significant amount of money in a retail business and an import business, totaling almost $5 million in losses. And coming out of that, I really didn't have much of an option but to make this industry my full-time income, being that I was a dad and I had a young family. I didn't have a lot of startup capital that I could use anymore. I didn't have the means to be able to buy more stock or launch another big business like I had before that. It was an 8-figure business. It was doing about $1 million a month in revenue, and it all just blew up. And if it wasn't for Forex trading, I can tell you right now that I'm not sure how I would have fared. I don't know how it would have gone if I didn't already know this skill set. So I think this skill set is a huge I guess edge and advantage in your life. Like, this skill set, no one can take it from you. There is no risk, there's no inventory, there's no stock, there's no rent, there's no staff, there's no overhead. The most you can ever lose is really the risk you're willing to put behind the trade. As we're in business, in my previous business, my staff cost alone was about $150,000 a month, and you would start off the month red. So you would start off $150,000 in the hole, and you would try to dig your way out of that by the end of the month. So that's the very big difference with Forex trading or trading the financial markets, is you really are sort of break even until you put some money behind a trade, and then you need to really understand probabilities and have a statistical edge that will actually help you play out a profitable trading system. So basically, I'll sort of stop on the waffle for now. That's just a little bit of background of myself. I really encourage everybody to learn this skill. It is a very high income skill. It is a very hard skill to master, but once you master it, you will never have financial worries ever again. And if I didn't have this skill, in my back pocket over the last 5 years learning this skill, then when I lost that huge loss last time, I probably would have had to get a job. I probably would have needed, I'd be stuck in a six-figure handcuff role. I might make $150,000 a year, maybe $200,000 a year. But in Sydney, Australia, that is not a lot of money. It doesn't get you very far. And, you'd be working around the clock trying to make ends meet. As where now I can live a life of freedom. I get up with my kids. I see them after school. I can go wherever I want, whenever I want, however I want, with whoever I want. And no one can really dictate how I live my life. And it's a skill that continues to scale, and the income just keeps on growing and growing every single year. So every year that passes, your income should grow. So, but in the beginning, it's just how do you replace your current income? So basically, the foreign exchange markets are, well, Forex stands for the foreign exchange markets, and the foreign exchange markets are basically where two currencies are paired off against each other, and you are actively looking for opportunities in the market to bet that one pair is going to be stronger than the other, or one pair or one currency is going to be weaker than the other. So, for example, on my screen here, I've got gold. So this is the pair XAU USD. So it's gold against the US dollar. And basically, as you can see here, we are looking like we're sort of going in an upwards direction at the moment. Obviously, we're not going to dive too deep onto timeframes and opportunities and all that sort of stuff at the moment. We're just going to talk about what the foreign exchange market is. So in this particular instance, you would be betting on the market or gold being stronger than the US dollar. And if you can position yourself correctly, you can profit from those moves in the markets. If you look at another pair here, so for example, this is the Great British Pound, or the British Pound against the Japanese Yen. Now, in this particular example, you can see it's had some weakness of late. And in this instance, you want to be positioning yourself that the British pound is getting weaker against the yen in this scenario. If you look at another one, the US dollar against the Japanese yen. So US dollar versus Japanese yen has been quite even. It's been fairly stable. If you look at maybe in this particular section, the US dollar's strength against the Japanese yen was declining, and then it was back on the uptrend shortly after. So a bit more of a stable currency pair. I don't look at too many pairs. I do look at the major indexes as well. So the NASDAQ is something that I do track and I occasionally trade. You can see it's been quite weak lately, and it's been slowly declining in its strength. The Dow Jones is something I also trade and track. And again, similar to the NASDAQ, it is showing signs of weakness. But basically, how you operate or how you make a living in these markets is you take a position in the direction you believe that pair or that instrument or that asset class is going to go. And once you place that bet, you are hoping and hopeful that it reaches a profit level that you think is suitable or realistic for that pair to reach. And at that point, you would close your position. And when your position is closed, you would have profited from the difference of where you got in to where you got out. Further down the track, we can learn a little more details. But for now, the basics are, it is the foreign exchange markets. These are indexes or indices, so US 30, NASDAQ. Gold is a commodity or a precious metal. And currency pairs like this, the Great British Pound and the US dollar against the Japanese yen. There are many foreign exchange pairs. So foreign exchange is a multi-trillion-dollar market. The markets move trillions every single minute of every single day. And the reason for that is there is not only banking between different countries, but it's also for trade. So for example, in my last business, I bought a lot of stuff from China. and I would either pay for most things in either the US dollar, the Hong Kong dollar, or the Chinese yuan. So in that particular instance, I'm converting my Australian dollars into one of those other currencies. And in that moment, that is where there has to be some sort of base level for what the currencies are currently worth in that exchange. And obviously, over time, the strength and the value of those currencies fluctuate depending on certain economic factors. And there are certain economic factors that affect the price level or strength of the currency. So currently in Australia, we are a declining economy. The GDP is quite weak. We have not had any GDP growth in the last, I think, almost 2 years. And our interest rates are quite high, meaning our economy is quite weak and quite slow. So with our economy weakening and slowing over the last couple of years, our dollar against the US dollar, which is the most commonly pegged opposing currency, it is actually quite weak against the US dollar. So that's a real world example of how or why foreign exchange actually exists. It's to facilitate transactions all over the world. You might travel, I go to Bali quite a bit. I go to Fiji as well. They're easy, close holidays to take the kids to. And in those instances, I need to transfer my money into the local currency. And this is the markets that you technically do it in. So I hope that makes sense. If you want to learn more, down in the description, I've got a free course and free trading community. You can go through it at your own pace. We do have some more advanced stuff available for you guys as well. But just down below in the description, if you want a free course on how you can actually make money from these markets, click the link, join the free community, get access to the free course. And if you need any help, just message us in there and we'll be happy to see you inside. Bye for now.